What is going on, guys? This is Jay Kraft with the Facebook group Reseller Roundup Pickers Lounge, and I'm coming at you again live from beautiful Bakersfield, California. Today is February 24th, 2019, and we've got an interesting episode in store for you. Firstly, I just want to let you know it's going to be a shorter one because we have a special after show that's going to be happening. I'll get to that here in a second. But we got a lot of news this week. First up, how big changes in e-commerce are going to be happening in India. I know, India of all places, and the implications it can have for us here domestically. On top of that, we're looking at some more layoffs happening at eBay and some comments from Devin Wenig himself. We're also looking at changes to how Buy It Now is working internationally for eBay sellers, and again, changes that could happen here and things to be mindful of. And our after show, guys. I mentioned it a moment ago, but we're going to be taking a look at the future of reselling. We're going to be having a 6-person panel tonight on Wade's Venture YouTube channel. The link to his channel is down below in the description, but we're also going to provide it in the comments section towards the end of this show, so that way you guys can all get over there. But boy, oh boy, thank you all so much for taking the time to be here. I understand that coming in on a Sunday can be a little bit tricky for some of you, but man, I think it's going to be a good time, even though it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show. Firstly, I took your guys' suggestions. We no longer have a green screen behind me. I know that some of you guys were a little frustrated with the green screen, but we managed to preserve all the assets. And we got a comment from Trash Girl. Hello to you. And I think I know who you are. I think I might be seeing you this week. We'll see. I'm gonna do my best to make that happen. But to everyone out there watching tonight, again, thank you for being there. Those of you who are here for the first time, I know we got some first-time viewers here tonight. This is a live show regarding the world of being a reseller. We're going to be covering some news. I know some of you guys don't care for the news. You don't care about the finance, but I'll tell you, it's important to understand these things because there's a lot of things that are going to be changing in the world of reselling over the next 6 to 12 months, and being ahead of that curve, like with all type of e-commerce purchases, being ahead of that curve is going to help you out a ton. You don't want to be the last one to the party. It's when you're going to get taken to Hose Town. On top of that, beyond that, if you have any questions during the show, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer every single question that comes into me tonight regarding stuff on the topic of reselling. On top of that, I'm just expanding some windows down here. I want to give a special thank to all of our patrons who help make this show possible. Those who don't know, this is a Patreon-funded show, and if it wasn't for you guys, this wouldn't be happening. Everything you see, set, mic, equipment, everything. So thank you to our patrons who help make this show possible. On top of that, I want to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Prairie Grit, this week. We're going to be talking with them a little bit later, and on top of that, the owner, Sean Herrick, will be part of the Future of Reselling panel discussion that's going to be happening at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight. I also want to give a special and direct thank you to Anna and Joe, our two newest patrons who joined us today and are enjoying some of the fabulous perks, and we'll talk about that here a little bit later. So thank you again to everyone for being here. We're going to jump right into the news, and then we're going to be taking a look at my pickups on the week as well. I didn't get a ton of stuff, but I got some interesting stuff. Hopefully we can learn a little bit. And I also found some food, which, if you're going to go source and you can find a great deal on food, why not? So let's go ahead and pop slides. This is our little thank you slide to all of our patrons, and we'll come full circle back around to this one here again in a second. So first and foremost, buy now listings are changing in Australia. Those of you who didn't know this, people in Australia use eBay. And I know it's crazy, but eBay isn't actually everywhere. There's some markets where they do really, really well. eBay in Australia is one of those markets because there isn't a lot of competition. And then there's other markets where they really, really struggle. Markets like China, markets like India, they just can't seem to get a footing because local competitors are really taking a giant stab out of their bottom line and their ability to market and gain dominance in the area, especially because they're an American-based company. And this isn't the first time we've seen American companies struggle to get roots in international territories. We've also had issues with international brands trying to get a footing here domestically as well. It goes both directions, which is going to tie into our next one. But those of you who don't know this, eBay is doing away with short-term buy-it-now listings in Australia. And I know you're thinking, you're like, Jay, I'm not in Australia. What's the big deal? Well, it's probably going to be coming to America. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you're one of those people that has ever done a 3-day, 5-day, 7-day, a 10-day, or a 30-day listing, if you're one of those people that runs 30 days, dumps some, reruns them again for some godforsaken reason, they're getting rid of that in Australia, and I can almost promise you that's something that's going to be coming here. Now, the reason why they're starting with a market like that is because it is a developed market, but there's enough people there to really see the viability of this. We've seen them test things in Australia before in the past. Remember, they did the equivalent of the eBay fulfillment. They called it eBay Here, or eBay Now is what they were calling it in Australia. And after everything went through with the testing period and they checked the adoption, they fiddled with the price points and everything, what did we hear about 9 months later? We heard about it happening in America. So when we see these types of things, it's definitely something we want to keep our radar on, definitely want to keep you guys up to date on changes that are happening. But the announcement was important from the 19th of February 2019, they always phrase things differently internationally. We're moving all fixed price listings to good till canceled listings, which means for sellers out there, they're given this very, very short grace period. I think it was like a couple of days, and they just bumped their rates up. If you don't realize that there is a rate difference. So they moved them all from whatever they were, 5, 7, 10, 30, whatever you were doing. If you had a 30-day that was set to renew, maybe not a good till cancel, but you had it where it would actually relist itself after 30 days, which is an option through the automation. They just moved them all to good till canceled. This means short duration options will no longer be available for new fixed pricing listings. This is to create a better shopping experience, retain sales history, and secure more of what buyers love on site. Hogwash. None of that's really true. I guess theoretically, by saying that we have the customer in mind, they want to keep the inventory actually active on the platform, so that way there's more buying options for the consumer. Sure. As far as retaining sales history, that doesn't do anything. They're holding back sales history for 90 days, and let's not forget, it was just last month that they finalized and started pushing out to the consumers Terapeak, which is the program or company, website, whatever you want to call it, that tracks sales back 10 or 15, 20 years in some instances. They have the ability, they have the means to track the sales history. Don't tell me it's about that. And then to create a better shopping experience. Yes and no. The problem with the shopping experience currently is that there's an oversaturation of goods on the market. So I don't understand how increasing the volume of the same exact goods is actually going to increase or improve the consumer shopping experience. Comment coming in from Aaron, a way to force people into promoted listings since the shorter durations rank higher. They rank higher by default sometimes because eBay knows that they have a limited window to actually push those items out. Now, I don't ever recommend anyone do that. I truly do believe that good till canceled listings are the way to go. But yeah, promoted listings, we've talked about this before. They're really, really trying to double dip and make sure that the seller is getting charged as many times as possible. Someone brought up a really, really good comment on one of my videos the other day, talking about the concept, the whole double dipping, getting you on one end and then getting you on the other, because they're going to get you on your listing. Okay, they're going to charge you when you list. They're going to charge you for your store. They're going to charge you when you sell the item. And then here's the real rub. I didn't even think about this. They're charging you through PayPal as well. Now, really think about this. Remember when eBay and PayPal were one company and there was a one final value fee? Now, what are they talking about now? They're talking about Adyen and the new payment processor that's coming in, and they're saying we expect a reduction for fees. Well, it's because they're doing them together again. But eBay, for the longest time, by separating the two companies, they charged it on the whole amount. So before, you were paying, whatever it was, 15% of your total sale amount all together. But now they charge, the base amounts on eBay, and then they do it from the same base amount on PayPal. They don't remove one fee and then charge the fee off the second one. Roger, KeyWebCo says, I hate to say it, but I'm getting rid of most eBay listings, going from 1,200 listings a month go to 100 by next month. I've actually been running my listings down too. And I've been getting a lot of private messages lately from people saying, hey, am I doing something wrong, or is something happening with eBay? And we try not to throw out any generalizations. We try not to say that, there's something wrong with the platform and things are busted. But I've looked at some people's stores. Now, obviously, there's issues with certain stores, and I do mentoring and I talk with people, and there's a lot of changes that can be done. But as a whole, all of the platforms are kind of slowing down a little bit, but predominantly used platforms are slowing down a little bit. And it's a little bit interesting to see what's happening. And part of this has to do with the ranking of the items and the fact that you are competing. You really, truly competing on eBay for a placement on all your listings. Hello to Nevermore Antiques. Thank you for joining in on the show as well. So, like I said, the issue here is that people are really upset because they're seeing an increase in their fees. It's just another cash grab by eBay to be able to get more money from the consumers. And one of the other things, too, is we're looking at SEO. eBay is struggling just on a baseline to get consumers to the platform. Okay? How many people do you know, personally, that are using eBay for the first time? Okay? How many people do you know that when they say, I'm looking to buy something, and I'm talking people that aren't within the reselling ecosphere, not somebody who's doing this for a profession, okay? But let me ask you, how many people do you know that are actively going on eBay when they think, I just want to do some shopping. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what I want. I just want to do a little bit of shopping right now. And the first thing they do is they go to eBay. It's not happening. It really isn't. When we hear people randomly talk about eBay, we're hearing a lot about the negative. And don't get me wrong. If eBay didn't exist, my livelihood would be completely different. I wouldn't have this job, what I'm doing right now. I wouldn't have the e-commerce platform I'm working on, and I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in. So I'm very fortunate that eBay as a whole exists. I'm very thankful for eBay existing, but oh boy, things are getting a little bit dicey right now. And I don't want to carry on too much on that, but we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But when we talk about these GTC, these good till cancel listings, it really truly does have to do with SEO more than anything else. Listings that stay on eBay longer are going to index higher on Google, which means that, and this is true of all platforms. I don't care. You could have your listings on Amazon. You could have them on Prairie Grid. They're just going to index higher because they've been there longer, as long as they are quality listings. We're talking good pictures, good titles. They're getting reasonable amounts of traffic, so, Google's going to value them well. Yeah. So when it comes to that, it's SEO. They want to be able to drive more traffic to the site by manipulating the way that sellers have to sell their items, not how they want to, but how they have to sell their items. And there are instances where you would want to run a shorter listing, but you wouldn't want to run it as an auction. And what is the difference? Let me ask, what is the difference for you of running a 7-day auction with a starting price that's equal to the buy it now price that you want, opposed to running a 7-day buy it now listing with the pricing that you want? It's fees. It's money. They can rake more money off the top. So it's a scary little bit of time right now, but definitely pay attention to what's happening. this is probably going to come to America, and I'm not trying to be a fearmonger or anything like that, but we need to be mindful of the changes that are happening to the platform so that we can be prepared if they do come this direction. Thank you to everyone who is commenting as well. People are sick of the platform. They search Google, they ask their device, and whatever pops up, they buy. And that's, honest to God, 43% last month of my listings that sold came through Google. People searching on Google, and then my listings indexed well, and then they were able to convert through and buy. Now, there are a lot of people who will benefit from using Good Till Canceled. Maybe some of them don't realize it, but there are always going to be fringe scenarios where a shorter buy it now, fear of loss type scenario, collectible goods. You know, we got this new shelf over here. A lot of these items are items that are long-term investments. These are pieces, you know, from here to here. These are pieces that I've purchased and then I'm camping on. I'm waiting on until the market is where I need it to be. So there are going to be scenarios where it's going to be beneficial to run a shorter listing because you want to create a fear of loss. You know, if I take an item, you know, like this trading card right here, and I list it online right now, there's none available at all. Yeah, sure, I could run an auction, but maybe I want to create a fear of loss scenario and run a buy it now for, you know, $750, have it up there for 3 days. If somebody doesn't get it, poof, it's gone. And then maybe I want to run the same thing next month. Maybe I want to create that scenario. Oh, I missed it the first time. I want to come back and get it the second time. So there are going to be fringe scenarios where the consumers, the sellers, are going to be missing out. Roger says, I always use Good Till Canceled. And I respect everyone who does. And I want to have people just think of sometimes the fringe scenarios that are out there where that type of variety, and we talked about this before, about being able to buy and sell the way that you wish to buy and sell, okay? Having control over your own brand and your own store's identity are important and can affect your bottom line, the amount of money you're making. I don't want to drone on this one too long. My kids only shop Amazon or other online stores. They have a different mindset about eBay than I do, and I really, really think that resonates with a lot of people, Yvette. I really think that there's a lot of consumers out there who aren't within the ecosystem who think that way. So it's a scary situation. One of the next ones too, and like I understand it's international stuff, but it's important stuff to know. There's a lot of changes that are going to be happening to e-commerce in India right now. They're trying to pass, I guess, the equivalent of legislation out there, and some of the brands that are being affected, we have Amazon, Flipkart, Walmart, and Snapdeal. And I want to apologize in advance. I tried to get as much information in as quickly as possible about this. Some of the outlines for what they were attempting to do started as early as December of last year, and I started trying to track and follow the situation. And more of the emerging details really became prevalent over the last 24 to 48 hours, but I haven't had time to do a deep dive, but I can assure you it's something that we're going to be following up again on in the future. But I'm going to give you some of the best details that I have. We got a couple of notes on screen. Oh, and let me clarify too. Flipkart and Snapdeal are very close in the way that they operate in comparison to eBay. That's how you kind of want to look at these brands. Now, Flipkart is one of the biggest brands in India for buying and selling. Flipkart is the reason why eBay failed in India, and eBay closed down their operations in India temporarily, and they do plan to come back again. So it's something to understand that these are big players. And on top of that, Walmart, just over the last last week, month, however long, just invested, was it something like $17 billion with a B dollars into Flipkart, just to give you an idea of how big that platform is. And then obviously Amazon, you know who Amazon is. And like I said, Snapcart's like Flipdeal. So standards are being put in place for e-commerce platforms selling to India-based consumers and companies, and regulations at this level domestically could wreak havoc for sellers and buyers alike. Now, the concern is that some of these types of regulations could find their way to America. And, you know, I hate to sound like I'm giving any credence to additional regulation over the way that sellers operate. I don't like thinking that way, but there are a couple of little guidelines that I kind of gotta give a little nod to, that aren't some of the worst things ever. Oh, and just to clarify too, the buy that Walmart was doing into Flipkart would give them a majority share control. We're talking a 70+% control over it. A lot of this big push is to try and help local businesses, and even though some of the rules may appear draconian, I can see what they are trying to accomplish. So there's two big rules that are the big standouts right now. One of them is that inventory-based model of e-commerce, okay, which is inventory-based models of e-commerce means an e-commerce activity where the inventory of goods and services is owned by the e-commerce entity and is sold to the consumers directly. No foreign direct investment will be permitted within this model. Okay, that's really, really crazy to think about. Okay, so let's hear that one more time. Okay, e-commerce activity where the inventory of goods and services is owned by e-commerce entity and is sold to consumers directly. You are not allowed to have foreign direct investment in that. So if you own a brand and you want to sell direct to India, okay, foreign investment for that is not going to be permitted. So the way that I'm interpreting that is that's going to put a real slowdown on international brands from doing business there. I don't understand the sense on that one. The second one is regarding marketplace-based models of e-commerce, and it says marketplace models of e-commerce means providing an information technology platform by an e-commerce entity on the internet to act as a facilitator between buyer and seller, and the e-commerce entity providing the platform has no inventory of its own. So when we're thinking of that, we need to think of eBay. eBay doesn't hold inventory. Now, obviously, they have their shipping supplies, whatever, but we're talking about companies like eBay that facilitate the buying and selling of goods between seller and consumer, okay? 100% foreign direct investment under this automatic rule is permitted in this model. So they're trying to regulate who and how can do business, and part of this has to do with the fact that they're trying to increase the amount of local presence. So when it comes to this, it says this would require some brands to create traditional brick and mortar stores within India to be able to be allowed to be an online commerce presence in the area if you're a foreign investor. It's a little bit crazy. Part of this has to do with the fact that local brands, local companies are really, really fired up because they can compete with online companies. Sound like something we've heard here in America, right? Something that's already happening. People are already fired up and angry about this because brick and mortars are dying left and right. Who have we lost recently? Payless, Kmart, Sears. I mean, that's just right off the top of my head. I guarantee you we've seen downsizing with companies like Osh. Hardware stores as a whole are one of the worst hit brands out there. Just the entire sector. But the idea is to drive revenue back to the local sector in India, because so much of this money, and we see it with Amazon here domestically, so much of this money is being generated, but the fear is that none of it's going back into the local economy, and that's what they're basically trying to do. The goals are to increase revenue for small business, and the other part of it too is to be able to regulate how pricing discounts happen within the online sector, and basically saying that, if this Amazon brand is here and they're doing private deals with the company and they're, such and such product, one of these little light up mirrors, if the company owns this product and they're offering a special pricing to Amazon to be able to sell it at that price, if they want to do business in India, any part of India, they have to be able to offer that same pricing to local companies. So that way the consumer can say, do I want to go do business locally or do I want to go do business online? Basically giving the consumer the power of choice as to whether or not they want to take their business online. I kind of get it. But at the same time, like I said earlier, it's a touch draconian. Let's see. Australia's the testing grounds for America. Yep, I agree completely. That's the game more than just India. Yeah. So things are changing. Things are evolving. I don't know. And like I said, I don't want to go too deep into detail. I understand a lot of y'all don't care for finance or some of the conjecture that kind of goes along with it. I understand it's a little bit heavy, okay? But I'm doing my best to make it as exciting and as interesting as possible. We don't have a whole lot of news this week, and like I said, it's a reduced show, hence why we're powering through some things. Where's my next slide? Wrong keyboard. I got a couple of keyboards here in front of me. So the next one, guys, it's 70s week over at Prairie Grit right now. I don't know if you've been to their Facebook page, facebook.com/Prairie Grit. You can go participate in 70s week right now. Upload your favorite 70s themed item or upload a listing. You get to put it right onto their page, something that you have that's 70s related, and you can get entered in to win a great prize. Next week will be 60s week. Definitely look forward to that. Hope you enjoy this logo. I actually made it myself. Very proud of it. But thank you again to our sponsors, Prairie Grit. If you'd like to try out a free month, visit www.prairiegrit.com/free month. And if you don't have a flippin' idea what Prairie Grit is, it's a new e-commerce site that's looking to slash away a lot of the red tape and regulation for selling online. There are too many companies trying to enforce too much stuff. But you're definitely going to want to stick around for the after show so you can learn a little bit more about that. And one of the last things I want to do, wrong keyboard again, 2 for 2. One of the last things I want to do is I like to go over some of the postings for the week. Now, before when I built this slide, I had a green screen here. So I was able to see this slide behind me. What I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to turn off my video so you can see this slide for once. Oh, that's not working. I'm going to turn off my video so that way you can see. I can't figure it out. Overlay video, no green screen. There we go. So you can see this slide just for 1 second. It's showcasing a camera with a red X on it. But yeah, so we had 4 things that happened this week within the group that I felt were noteworthy. If you'd like to join the discussion, bit.ly/Bolarama. You can join in our Facebook group. We post all kinds of stuff. Frankly, we don't post a lot of bolos, but we have a good time. We talk, and I like to keep everything in the know. And if you have questions, you can post them. We're all here to help. It's a fantastic community of wonderful stuff. But over here to my side, Roger put up this really, really cool posting showing the restoration of a 1920s fire helmet. And it really got my mind jogging because I had an ex-girlfriend that was barking up my tree the other day, and she was asking to like get a new pair of shoes or a new bag or something like that. And I had my filthy, filthy, muddy shoes that I got back from the swap meet after stomping around in the rain out there sourcing for items and just like destroying some of my stuff to be able to make it happen. And I detailed the heck out of them. And I made them look brand new. And I sent her a picture of like a before and after of what my shoes look like. And these shoes are like 2 years old. And it really got me thinking. And I want to say that sometimes the best way to protect your margins and to be a thrifty and frugal person is to protect the goods that you currently have. Like really invest in your stuff. Spray stuff down with like waterproofing like your shoes and really get more value out of them. But even when it comes to reselling, if you have the opportunity to restore an item and squeeze those extra margins out of it, or if you have something now that you don't actually have to replace, that's as good as making money on something else. So just be mindful of that. But it was a really cool restoration video. I definitely recommend people check it out. The one past that, we changed our channel art on our YouTube channel. If you haven't done so yet, guys, do me a solid. Subscribe to the channel. That button does nothing. But if you're you're here on YouTube right now, do me a solid. Check it out, subscribe to our channel. We're pushing for 1,000 subscribers right now. It'd totally help us out. And if you haven't done so yet, click on that like button. That also really helps us out, helps us get more traction, helps us get more people actually looking at the stuff. 33 of you watching and only 10 of you have clicked that like button. So there's 23 of you I'm not very happy with right now. So please do so. And then Judy put a post over there talking about Patreon, and I really, really appreciated that too. Those of you who don't know, that, like I said, this whole program is Patreon funded. We have a fantastic back-end operation where you get some really, really cool perks. Look, I can show this to you without having to do any madness here. But yeah, you get these really, really awesome thank you cards, and these are for your customers, and you include these in your orders, and these are a really high quality stock, and we give you these for free if you become a patron. I do want to let you know that Patreon rates are going up after tonight. We're going to be doubling the price on everything because I've been giving away everything for too darn cheap. This is going to be your last night to sign up for Patreon at the current pricing, but you get these really cool cards just for supporting the show. You get one-on-one mentorship if you'd like it, and you get to join our 24/7 group chat as well. The group chat is fantastic. So many great, smart people in there too. So we have one more that we were going to talk about real quick, and it's the one that's directly behind me. Boy, oh boy. Man, are there some scumbag people out there. The post, and I guess there's a few different ways to interpret it, but some of the comments really lend credence to the ideology that I'm going to be talking about right now. But long story short, there's this guy who's buying stuff from thrift stores, and when he gets home and he tests it and he realizes that it doesn't work, he's been marking X's on it, and then he's donating it back to the thrift store. And it's one thing and I'm truly worried that he's taking the tax credit, but he's not telling them that the things are broken, or he is telling them and they're continuing to put it back onto the shelf. But rather than e-cycle it or even sell it for parts online, he's letting it hit the store shelves again. Now, he knows his own marking. He knows his marking means that it's broken, but he's allowing other people to buy these things. And when I questioned about it, somebody else had responded in the comments and he said, it's a fierce competition out there. That's what you got to do. And I explained to him, like, there's a difference between, having greed and being greedy. Okay? Having greed means you want nice things for you. You want nice things for those people around you. You want a good quality of life, and you're willing to put in some effort to make it happen. Now, being greedy is the act of taking negative actions to get yourself to that position. Now, this might be my own personal interpretation of the words and how I feel about it, but I don't feel at any point in time is it necessary to plant those seeds of negativity, because when it comes time to harvest, it's really gonna get you. So be conscious and be mindful of the things that you do, because it will come back tenfold. And I don't mean to sound, religious, you reap what you sow, yada, yada, yada. But, let's be honest. Just be a good person. Don't be a scumbag. There's no reason to do stuff like that. Carly says, karma. I agree 100%. And thank you for joining in tonight, Carly. I know it's probably one of your first times watching our show. We appreciate having you. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Nevermore Antiques. I have argued with my Goodwill so many times about them not testing electronics and charging a huge price. Yep. I'm right there with you. Believe it or not, now, when I go to the swap meet, I try, if I remember, I'm working on it, to bring a Phillips head, a flat head, AA's, AAA's, and if possible, a power pack. I'm looking to get a power pack that actually has a socket adapter on it, because I am tired of my sell-through rate going down because of the amount of defective goods that I am finding out there. Pam says, most Goodwills have a testing strip. Most do. Some of them don't. It's kind of regional. I know that some of the outlet ones, the bargain bin ones, the by the pound ones, sometimes they don't have them because they know they're giving you an insane rate anyways, or they don't want the liability. I've heard of that excuse before. They don't want the liability of something, blowing up after somebody plugs it in, because you know what? I heard there's some real jackasses that like to return broken stuff. So anything's possible. It's Natural said, yes, I have tested a few items this weekend and all didn't work. That is a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. But just remember, sometimes there's money in parts and not working. So you're definitely going to want to check to see if you can squeeze a few bucks out of that. Don K says, many thrift stores throw away lots of stuff. Goodwill tosses truckloads every week away that can't be sold. I think people dump stuff at Goodwill so they don't have to pay trash companies. It's sad. I think part of that is true. But I also think that there's some people who they overvalue the stuff that they have, and they believe that they're still doing something good, even though what they have a vast majority of people may consider to be trash, which is unfortunate. But each their own, I suppose. That is a really good point. Nevermore Antique says they will spend 10 minutes looking up an item on eBay, but won't spend 3 minutes testing it. 100% agree. 100%. Let me make sure we got everything here. Okay, guys. So again, the weather. It's been unfortunate. I didn't manage to take the time to put that image of what the swap meet looked for me like this week up, but it was wet and it was muddy. If you guys were in our Patreon program, we have a second private page, and I did a live stream from the swap meet. You guys got to see how wet and muddy it was out there, so my ability to find goods unfortunately was hampered again, but I have a very exciting schedule for sourcing this week. I will be going to a Tuesday swap meet and a Friday swap meet and potentially a Sunday swap meet, so I will have 3 times as much stuff as normal, and we're probably, in the way I'd like to do it, I think we're going to have a really, really chill episode next week. I think we're going to, kind of push the news to the side a little bit. I think we're just going to hang out. We're going to talk about items. We're going to do practical training. I've been getting a lot of private messages lately with some really, really good questions, and I just want to slow down and just have a nice dialogue with everyone and get a lot of these questions out there. So let me look at this real quick. Good till canceled. They are still in your listings every 30 day, don't they? And are you on the Fortunes in Reselling show tonight? I'm not sure which show it is. It is the Fortunes in Reselling one. I'm the guy in the trailer that was promoting that on the group. It's going to be on the Wade's Venture channel. Don't leave me yet, but there's the link to Wade's Venture. I think that's the link. And you might have to put a C in. I don't know. I know we're dealing with some technical issues that one of our admins is currently having. So we're going to sort it out. You might not. Here, I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to try dropping the HTTP, see if that works. Maybe one of those is clickable. But it's going to be Wade's Venture. That's the channel. We're all going to go have a great time over there. It's going to be a 6-person panel from what I've heard. So I'm going to be leaving this channel here in about 20 minutes. And we're just going to talk about the future of reselling. And I've taken some copious notes regarding the topic of things that I feel really need to be covered. Things like laws and regulations coming here domestically, the oversaturation of goods, marketplaces trying to dictate how sellers do business, Vero restrictions on the market. You guys know I'm a big talker, a big chatter on the topic of Vero. The dangers of oversaturations of low quality goods. If you guys watched that special live stream I did the other day, I was actually talking with multiple pallet vendors who were first-time pallet vendors out there at the swap meet. And if you guys don't realize how bad the problem is, we are talking just at one swap meet that I was at, probably 50 to 60,000 pieces worth of merchandise out there that were brand new sealed tables, big, giant, long tables worth of brand new stuff. Everything on the table was $1 an item. And I tell you, I look back and forth, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if you've ever done this, like, you've gone to Ross or something, and you're going through the shirts, you're going through the pants, and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to find that $120 pair of pants or that $60 nice button-up t-shirt that somebody missed that's marked down for like $250. I'm going to score that jackpot today. And I'm going through this table, and I'm fishing through stuff, and there was thousands of pieces on this table, and I have the video footage for it too. Everything on the table, $1 an item. Couldn't find one thing I wanted. And I was walking by the trash bins, and I even asked people too. I'm like, do you have any stuff that you can't do anything with? Like, you're just never going to sell it out. And, oh yeah, we got lots of that stuff. I'm like, what'd you do with it? We just tossed it out. It just wasn't worth the trouble, or we just boxed it up and took it to the thrift store. I'm telling you, if you're going to thrift stores here, especially in Southern California, you're going to start seeing massive overflows of this chintzy Chinese junk. You have to be mindful of the oversaturation. But we're gonna talk about that here a little bit later. Somebody got a Vero for a Velcro. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say Velcro on air without getting a Vero strike. I mean, they're very, very aggressive about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at my pickups for the week. And here's the thing too, guys. This is the whole reason this new background exists, so that you can better see the items that I purchased this week. And like I said, it was a little bit of a slow week, and those of you who don't know, I am unlike some other sellers online, other people who do shows, and I don't want to feel like I have to emphasize this. Somebody put up a post the other day, and they said that the barrier to entry to YouTube is simply having a camera. And the whole reason I have all of this production quality is so that I can differentiate myself from everyone else on the platform. And there's a lot of great resellers on here. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but there's a lot of misinformation floating around. Be very, very mindful of who you take help for. Be mindful of who you pay for help for, okay? And like I said, there are great mentors out there. There's other people out there, and I'll admit it, there's people who know more than I do, but just be mindful and be careful. The amount of undoing of bad advice that I have to do each week is ridiculous. One person that I was working with is getting sued right now because he took bad advice and he relisted an item. So you have to be careful, guys. You have to be careful, and we'll talk more about that here later. Let's see. Speaking of Chinese, we wouldn't be having to compete with China on eBay, period. They shouldn't be able to sell eBay in America, just my opinion. And you know what? I don't think they could afford to give up the Chinese volume right now. And if you haven't seen my special regarding this, okay, this is a very, 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 very important video to watch. Okay? I'm going to put it in the comments right now. bit.ly/eBay revealed. I show you the connection that eBay has. eBay is partnered with Citibank to make a company called Orange Connex, and they're working together to help Chinese sellers onshore their inventory and warehouse it here in America. And if you think that's too phantasmical to believe, I have all the evidence to prove it. So you have to go watch that video. It is absolutely crazy, some of the stuff that I uncovered regarding eBay. And we are doing a follow-up on that. It takes about 40 or 50 hours to produce one of those videos. It's going to take a little bit. But without further ado, let's take a look at some of my items. Let's get a smile on our face and enjoy what we got. So I got some stuff that I'm a little apprehensive about, but I was hurting bad for inventory. I got a Shopkins set. I know Shopkins are kind of a thing, and if it was just straight up loose Shopkins, I don't think I would have bought it, but I've never seen this boxing before. This may be an earlier set. I did join a Shopkins group on Facebook, and this is a fantastic piece of advice. If you get something that you know is specifically for a collector's market, let's say you've got a World War II jacket, or let's just call it a military jacket. You don't know what era it's from. You don't know, any of the information. Maybe you have a name on there and you're trying to get some provenance. You're trying to get the history of the item. Join specialized groups. They will help you. So I joined a Shopkins group. I'm going to post an image of this later. I paid $5.50 for this. Do I feel good about that? Not really. But it was a little bit, like I said, it was a little bit dry trying to get inventory. But I'm not horribly upset with it. And here's the thing. Maybe one of you guys out there knows what this is. It's missing a couple of pieces, but I'll tell you, the reason why I was willing to pull the trigger on this, it's twofold. One, this is a very specific set of figures. Okay, I don't think that these figures may be available on, the blind bags or the loose packs or anything like that. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this set that might make it worth something. And then underneath of this set, there's a whole bunch of, I think it's Lala Loopsy, I think that's her name. A whole bunch of those figures down there too. Maybe there's some value there. And the thing is, like I said, I'm not not too big of a fan of rolling the dice, but I'll throw $100 in a slot machine. So I'm fine throwing, $5 at this, and I can't see me losing money on it. I'm sure somebody's gonna scoop it up and buy it up. Thank you so much, Trash Girl. I appreciate that. I'm sure it's worth something. And with the week that I'm having, I can't complain. It's been a fun one. Up next, boy, I don't know if you guys have ever found some of these, but I keep my eyes open for this. We have a Garmin is it Garmin? Yeah, Garmin Venture E-Trex. This is a portable GPS device. I'm 99% sure that's what it is. It's either portable GPS or it's like a ball locator, but either way, they're both worth money, but I'm 99% sure this is a portable GPS. I looked this bad boy up. It's about $40. I think I paid $2 for this thing. Whenever you find these little things you want to look for, you want to make sure when you open it up that there isn't battery corrosion on the inside. When I popped this open, believe it or not, it looked like the thing had never been used, which I was even happier with. So make sure it's nice and tidy in there. And then on the front side, try and get one that isn't all scratched to heck. Because when it gets, see how I can kind of see everything even with my light directly on it? If it's really, really scratched up, people aren't going to want it because they're not going to be able to use it. You don't want to be in the middle of the mountains hiking and not be able to see the screen on your GPS because it's all scratched to heck. Let's see what else we got. We got about 15 minutes left. I want to let you guys know if you have any questions, now is a fantastic time to ask them. I can answer them while I'm kind of digging and going through all of my stuff. And on the secondary show, too, you're welcome to ask questions there, too. I'm not running the show. I'm going to chat as much as I hope I can chat, but I'm not going to be running it, so ask away. This is a really cool piece. I get a little bit excited every time I find Disney stuff. I just want to say that right now, okay? I love me some Disney stuff, and we even have one of the most valuable items on this shelf is actually a Disney Vinylmation figure, one of 40 in the world. Believe it or not, I have more of these, this one right here, than anyone else in America. I invested heavily into them, and they trade about $750 a piece. Okay, so very, very cool piece. So when I find Disney, I'm pumped. Check these guys out. Aren't these adorable? These are Sega UFO crane prizes. They're flats. They're called Shape and Styles plushies. Now, what's really cool about this one, okay, is the sales history on this one's kind of junky. But there's not many out there that have tags right now. But what's really great is many have been available over the last 90 days. There's none active now. There's none sold in the last 90 days. So I think the pair, I think I'm going to go ahead and aim for anywhere between $30, $34.99, $39.99. I'm going to kind of suss the market out when I get ready to actually list these. I got the pair together for $3. Whenever you're buying plushies, I don't mind that there's a little bit of animal hair on there. Just make sure that they're not stained too badly. If light staining on used ones is fine, staining on new ones with tags, really want to try and avoid that. Whenever you can find one that, this is a Sega UFO catcher, if you can find ones that are crane machine only type prizes, that's what drew me to this. Now, if you just see a regular old Mickey, regular old Minnie, 99 out of 100 times, more than 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100 times, it's going to be worthless. Just kind of the nature of the industry. But if you find unique shapes, unique colors, unique designs, unique tagging, unique additions, stop and look it up. It's probably going to be in your benefit. So, cool piece, easy profits. I found some food. This is really nice guy. He was like a recovering addict. He has a total of 11 kids. And I found these organic. I don't even know if these are for adults or for kids, but they look delicious. Got some banana, like probably wondering like, why is he showing us food? They're really, really healthy snack cakes, and I'm on a health kick right now, and they're good for another 2 weeks. So good on me. But they look delicious. I got all 6 of them for $1. I think it's normally like $10 for a pack of these. Whatever. If you're out there and you can find margins even on the food that you're going to be eating, a profit is a profit, so why not? And then this was really nice. I'm really excited about this. This is an Evolve chalk bag. So you put your chalk ball or you put your loose chalk down here at the... Oh, it actually has a pouch. This is new news to me. I have no clue what's in here. Nifty little drawstring bag that was actually tucked inside the bottom. But yeah, this is a chalk bag. It can be used predominantly for rock climbing because it has a chalk belt on it. But pretty much any activity that would require you to have chalk, whether it's gymnastics or boxing or whatever you're doing that you want to chalk up your hands. But yeah, great little piece. It even smells brand new too. It has that new fabric smell. Probably $15-20 on this. This is a stitched fabric one. If you find the ones that are the plasticky type material, they're not going to be worth as much. The more embellished they are, the more money they're going to be worth. And this isn't something I would expect to really ever find. Climbing gear usually doesn't work its way out to a flea market unless somebody's sold it at a yard sale. Maybe they overpaid and they're trying to liquidate it out, and they end up putting it out at the yard sale. Out at the flea market. But yeah, cool piece. And I paid $1, so I'm really happy with that as well. I may actually keep the bad boy too. And then on that same note, I actually got these 2 brushes while I was out there too. These are for like working, I guess, like in your shop you would use these, but these are actually going to be used for brushing down holds, which are the bits that you climb on. I'm actually a rock climber myself, so the bits that you climb on. So I'm going to be adding these to my gym bag and using these to brush down chalk that are on some of the holds. But I got both of those for $1, and I'll tell you right now, if you get like official rock climbing brushes, you're going to pay $15+ a piece for the name brand ones, which is absurd what people pay for those things. Like if I was looking to start a brand new company, I would start with rock climbing brushes because I cannot believe the money people throw away on those things. We got a few more items. Oh, and I want to clarify too something, that my prices that I give are reflective of the last time I looked it up. Like I know some of you guys like double check my prices and stuff like that, and I do diligence. Obviously you want to look things up while you're out there, but certain things like this next one right here, this is a GameCube disc holder. I haven't looked up one of these things in forever, but the last time I had one, these were going anywhere between $20 to $35. And the reason is that once people start using these things, they want to have all of their loose disc inside of these. There's even game stores that have 10 or 12 of these things, and they don't want to switch over to a different method, so they continue to use these things moving forward. These come in square, and they also come in round, and it's one of the most easily overlooked items that I've seen. I'll tell you what, I got another computer here. And like I said before, if you have any questions, please let me know. Now, normally we do the web search online on this actual screen, but my computer is grinding right now. It is not happy with the workload that I'm giving it. I've been using it all day. GameCube, game, holder. Let's see if we can find the exact match. The cheapest one right now. This is the one with the purple trim around the outside. Yeah, the round one right now is 30 bucks. The cheapest one on this one is about $23.99. So definitely something to keep your eyes open for. If you